France, June 7th, 1944. The Normandy countryside still echoed with the thunder of artillery from the D-Day landings just one day earlier. Amid the smoke and churned-up fields, an unassuming, slow-moving aircraft, a Piper L-4 Grasshopper, circled overhead. At first glance, it looked like a civilian plane lost in the chaos of war. But what happened next stunned even hardened frontline troops. The little aircraft dove sharply, and in a moment that defied all conventional military logic, it coordinated a strike that wiped out a German panzer tank column. The men on the ground couldn't believe what they were seeing. A two-seat reconnaissance plane, helping to take out tanks? How did this happen? Who would even think to turn a flying tin can into an anti-armor weapon? And why did the Germans come to fear the little airplanes more than they feared heavy bombers? This is the real story of how a few daring pilots and forward observers turned the humble Piper Cub into a tank-hunting tool. Not with guns, but with one of the most overlooked tactics of World War II. The Piper L-4 Grasshopper was never meant for combat. It was a simple liaison aircraft derived from the civilian Piper J-3 Cub. With a top speed of just 85 miles per hour, unarmored, unarmed, and made largely of fabric and aluminum tubing, it was laughably vulnerable by any military standard. But its simplicity, lightweight frame, and ability to take off and land in short, rough fields made it a perfect choice for battlefield observation. By 1942, the U.S. Army realized that artillery units needed better spotting capability. Traditional methods were slow and inaccurate. Enter the Air Observation Post, or AOP, concept. Artillery officers would learn to fly these Piper Cubs and use them to observe enemy positions from the sky, relaying coordinates directly to artillery batteries. It worked. Accuracy skyrocketed. But then came a bold idea, from none other than Captain Charles Bazooka Charlie Carpenter. Stationed with the 4th Armored Division in Europe, Carpenter was frustrated by the inability to hit fast-moving enemy tanks during breakthroughs, so he decided to take matters into his own hands. His plan? Strap 6 M1A1 bazookas, anti-tank rocket launchers, to the wing struts of his Piper Cub. Yes, real bazookas on a plane made of cloth and sticks. It sounded suicidal, but Carpenter's reasoning was brutally simple. The L-4 could fly low and slow, sneak behind enemy lines, and attack from unexpected angles. He nicknamed his aircraft Rosie the Rocketer, and soon the name would spread across Europe, and even to German radio intercepts. His first success came during the Battle of Aricourt, in September 1944. In a daring attack, he flew his L-4 into a column of German Panther tanks, launching rockets at near point-blank range. At least 2 tanks were confirmed destroyed, with others disabled. He would go on to claim 6 tank kills and multiple vehicle strikes during the war, although some sources dispute the final numbers. Carpenter wasn't alone. Other AOP pilots began modifying their Grasshoppers in similar ways, though none to his level of aggression. The German Wehrmacht quickly caught on. Reports from the front noted that German infantry and tank crews became visibly panicked at the sound of the L-4's buzzing engine. They called them Grasshoppers, but some even referred to them as ghost planes, fearing the artillery strikes that often followed their appearance. In reality, the L-4 didn't always launch its own attacks. More often, it coordinated them. From the air, AOP pilots like Carpenter could spot hidden tanks and fortifications, then call in hyper-accurate artillery fire within seconds. One U.S. Army report from 1945 revealed that artillery units with air spotters were up to 70% more effective than those without. But here's the twist. German forces rarely shot down these aircraft. Why? Because they often flew too low for radar to detect, too slow for fighters to bother with, and too nimble for anti-aircraft guns calibrated for larger bombers. Even if spotted, L-4s could land in any open field and vanish. Yet, despite their success, The legacy of these aircraft remains strangely forgotten. No major warplane museum showcases Rosie the Rocketer. Few war documentaries mention the Piper Cub's role in defeating tanks. Was it because it didn't fit the heroic image of armored warfare? Or because official records failed to properly document their battlefield impact? Even Carpenter's own tally is debated to this day. Some historians argue his kill count was exaggerated for morale. Others say he was undersold due to flying a non-combat aircraft. What's undeniable is this: he was awarded the Bronze Star, the Air Medal, and his exploits were featured in Stars and Stripes, the military's official newspaper. After the war, Bazooka Charlie returned to civilian life. He became a school teacher, rarely speaking of his war days. His modified Piper Cub was lost to history until 2021, when a group of aviation historians and engineers reconstructed a fully functional replica of Rosie the Rocketer. It now flies in air shows, a silent tribute to the forgotten madness and brilliance of one man's idea. So, next time you see a tiny yellow cub flying overhead, think about this. In the chaos of Europe's greatest war, it wasn't always the biggest machines that made the difference. Sometimes, it was the insane ideas and the courage to try them that changed history. If you love real war stories like this one, the untold, the forgotten, the unbelievable but true, hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. It helps the algorithm and brings more lost history back to life.